Tiasie wonenenka ukunu tiasie wonenenka oba tiasie wonenenka owu ye dia hihye oniema ekuma baifo faniema ko oniema tantan faniema ko ye aso baifo faniema ko ye wonan wianwia faniema ko ekuma tantan faniema ko aso tantan faniema ko wohwini posi faniema ko ye wani manyinya faniema ko ye wo basa ye faniema ko ye wuye trimodinfo faniema ko.
I'm not waiting for anybody to make me happy. I happy myself. Oh, after mass, I don't want anybody to congratulate me. When I enter my room and I take my bottle of club, I open it into the glass. Oh, listen. I use the glass to hit the bottle. I say cheers. I cheer myself. I'm not waiting for anybody to cheer me up because I know who I am. I know that I am a seed. I'm not waiting for anybody to make me happy. I happy myself. Oh, after mass, I don't want anybody to congratulate me. When I enter my room and I take my bottle of club, I open it into the glass. Oh, listen. I use the glass to hit the bottle. I say cheers. I cheer myself. I'm not waiting for anybody to cheer me up because I know who I am. I know that I am a seed. Wherever
you agree with Sophia Kufu that, for example, the financial impropriety leg, it was not such a weighty matter that should lead to the removal of justice, right?
I didn't say so. You see what? You also purport to be quoting me. I did not say so. Let me take you through the process that I took them through, including those who sat at the committee. Vomawa was not there. We asked them, was there an audit? And they said yes. Did the audit raise queries? They said yes. Did the spending officer respond to those audit queries? They said yes. Was there a final management letter? They said yes. Did the final management letter refer to any setting? They said no. I have a copy of the final. If you say you have the proceedings, look at it. Audit service management letter on the accounts of the judiciary for JS Judicial Service for the period 1st January 2023 to 31st December 2023, dated 30th July 2024. If you claim you have the full record, read it for yourself and tell me where in this management letter they said they have found anything wrong. The auditors who did the work. Okay, so your point is that if the audit did not flag the issue, there should not be an issue. That's your point. It means they agreed with the explanation given to them, including the travel policy and all. They agreed with it and they never came back to it. Okay. It was never raised again. Okay. I said, I have a copy here. Yeah, I get that. I get that. Nobody is disputing anything you have said. Yeah, look through yours and see whether you can find anything. My question to you: the way to treat an individual. Yeah. So it's not in controversy. So let's not get to that. My question to you is: your point is that if the auditors did not flag misuse, unlawful, expense or unconstitutional expense, nobody should raise it again. I am saying that when the auditors come, they look at the record. When they have issues, they raise the issues. Then they give it to the management, whoever it is who is responsible, especially the spending officer. And they ask you for your explanation. Perhaps the thing is there. They didn't see it. So then you explain to them. And once you explain to them, that ends the matter. So the fact that it was even raised in a query does not mean that is the end of the matter, because you are now given the opportunity to respond. Something you have experienced, don't you? So having responded, and they left it in the final management letter, pointing out the areas they find the judicial service didn't do well, and this one did not come out. How do you turn around? And this committee, this report was before you. I specifically asked Domelevo, who was sitting there, whether this is not a procedure. He agreed. I think he even said there's a difference between audit observation and audit query. But these days they talk about audit or observation or something.
All right.
This is what happened, and the report is there. So where is this thing coming from?
Right. So let's put the committee in perspective. From the letter to the Chief Justice, which said, in the opinion of the committee, quote, in the opinion of the committee, the travel expenses which the Chief Justice heaped on the judicial service when she traveled on holidays in September 2023, first to Tanzania with her husband and second to the United States of America with her daughter, together with the payment of per diem to the spouse and daughter of the Chief Justice, constitute unlawful expenditure of public funds. Lawful, it is also unconstitutional. You are saying once the auditor didn't make any such claims, a committee like this cannot be heard to say what they said?
Please don't trivialize it. One of the members of the Judicial Council happened to be Gabriel Scott Puama. He had always been there with them, taking all the decisions, including travel policy. I explained the last time I was here that because of the judicial independence, they also granted them financial independence and asked them to work according to what they think is best to secure their independence. And therefore, they told them that it is only the Judicial Council that can determine anything which is pertaining to them and not necessarily the executive. Not necessarily the executive. So the travel policy was something that came out from the Judicial Council where Puama has been serving. And he knows that there was this travel policy which allows the Chief Justice to travel with a person of her own choice, and that whatever, whatever per diem is given to her, the person is traveling with will be giving half. These are not stories. They are all there. The Chief Justice's appointment letter stated clearly that she will be entitled to 2 vacations in a year. And she can choose wherever she wants to go. Her duty is to tell them that this is vacation period, I intend to travel. Then the spending officers will work, buy the ticket, do all the protocols, and then give her whatever her entitlements are. And then she uses that to travel. I am challenging them. Let anybody bring a document where the Judicial Service or Secretary said, these are your entitlements. And then the Chief Justice said, no, I will not accept it. Give me this rather. Nothing of the sort happened. And I'm saying I've gone through it twice as a Minister of Justice and Attorney General and as a High Commissioner. When I'm to travel, I don't get involved. All I tell them is that I need to travel. They work it and bring it to me. Which is why you have a spending officer who is held liable. How did they change it? With Domelevo sitting there, now saying that she being the overall head. Where has it happened before? That the President of the Republic is being held responsible for the acts of the chief directors of the various ministries because he's the overall executive. Where has it happened before?
The central point that was raised by the petitioner is that in that travel policy, it provides a limit. And it says with an emphasis that the CJ can travel with the security alone. For a foreign travel, the security alone. Then they even impeach the policy by saying that as an Article 71 office holder, it is the president, or is it the other way? No, when committees are set up to determine emoluments, yes. It is the committee set up under Article 71 that determines what you are entitled to. Yeah. And anything beyond that is unconstitutional, is unlawful. Yeah. And then they quote the CJ herself in at least 2 or 3 different cases where she insists that anything beyond what has been determined by the president or parliament, president for parliament, parliament for president, and so on, is unconstitutional. And it is the reason when Abronye took the case to the Supreme Court about the spouses of presidents and vice presidents getting paid as ministers, the CJ led in that decision and said, you won't even allow, even if Parliament was approving it that way, it will not be allowed. You don't agree with them that you can't fault the committee on this?
We fault the committee. The adjudicator brought a document on travel policy and per diems. In that travel policy, they said the people should be public officers. Then there was a footnote in which they stated that these things we are brought do not affect the judiciary because they are an independent body. He brought it, and we pointed that out to him. They were all sitting in the committee, we tendered it. Okay. In fact, we allowed it to be tendered and brought it out to show them that it does not apply to the judiciary. Yeah. They stated clearly that their terms and conditions and all those purposes of office should be determined by the council. And I'm saying Puama was a member of the council.
Are you a headmaster, headmistress, parent, teacher, or an educator looking for high-quality textbooks for preschool, primary, and junior high school students? Look no further than Advocate Publishing Company. Advocate Publishing Company is a leading publisher of educational materials in Ghana that publishes very engaging, interactive, and comprehensive textbooks that meet the needs of students, teachers, and parents. Our textbooks are thoroughly published to make learning fun and easy. They are also designed to stimulate critical thinking, problem solving, and creativity in students. Make Advocate Publishing your preferred choice for all your educational needs. Explore our range of textbooks and educational resources. Visit us at the old GNTC yard near Kingsway, Accra. You can contact us on 0503 786 776 or 02408 06354, also 0531 600 360, and connect with us on Instagram, X, and Facebook at Advo Publishing. Don't settle for less. Choose the best. Advocate Publishing Company, empowering young minds one textbook at a time. Thinking publishing, think Advocate Publishing.
Brush, 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 brush your teeth. Brush, 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 2 times a day. Brush with Kel-Kit.
Hello, my friends. My name is Kel-Kit's toothpaste.
Wow.
I was made to be gentle on your gum, but protected. I will protect your teeth from cavity, make your teeth whiter, stronger, keep your mouth fresh all day. And best of all, I'm strawberry flavored. So put on a smile and try me.
That's amazing.
Just try me. That's my job.
If you say so, jump on my brush. Makes your teeth stronger, chicky chicky whiter, chicky chicky stronger. Yay! You did it!
I'm glad you like your new toothpaste. Don't forget to brush both day and night.
Kel-Kit. Happy smile.
Me didn't tum. Mr. Friend, Calico, just call me cockroach. Now, Mr. Friend, me once now. Hey, that's you. Improve car. Yeah. Captain was key to double the action. Me did this, sasso spray. Mr. Friend is sasso quell. Yeah, go to my sasso.
Tum preko.
In life, choice is good, but choice plus safety is way better. Your safety and comfort is paramount. Under the cylinder recirculation model, you can buy LPG in a safe environment. All cylinders are inspected and maintained to the best safety standards, so your safety is assured. Just take your empty cylinder to the nearest exchange point and swap it for a filled cylinder. Different cylinder sizes will be available to meet your pocket size. Imagine cooking in a smoke-free environment. This will improve the health and well-being of you and your family. Choose LPG in a safer model of distribution. Cylinder recirculation model. Securing your safety. Creating more jobs. A message from the National Petroleum Authority under the patronage of the Ministry of Energy.
You agree with Sophia Kufu that, for example, the financial impropriety leg, it was not such a weighty matter that should lead to the removal of a Chief Justice, right?
I didn't say so. You see what? You also purport to be quoting me. I did not say so. Let me take you through the process that I took them through, including those who sat at the committee. Vomawa was not there. We asked them, was there an audit? And they said yes. Did the audit raise queries? They said yes. Did the spending officer respond to those audit queries? They said yes. Was there a final management letter? They said yes. Did the final management letter refer to any such thing? They said no. I have a copy of the final. If you say you have the proceedings, look at it. Audit service management letter on the accounts of the judiciary for JS Judicial Service for the period 1st January 2023 to 31st December 2023, dated 30th July 2024. If you claim you have the full record, read it for yourself and tell me where in this management letter they said they have found anything wrong. The auditors who did the work.
Okay, so your point is that if the audit did not flag the issue, there should not be an issue. That's your point.
It means they agreed with the explanation given to them, including the travel policy and all. They agreed with it and they never came back to it.
Okay.
It was never raised again.
Okay.
I said, I have a copy here.
Yeah, I get that. Nobody is disputing anything you have said.
Yeah, look through yours and see whether you can find anything.
My question to you:
way to treat an individual.
Yeah. So it's not in controversy. So let's not get to that. My question to you is: your point is that if the auditors did not flag misuse, unlawful, expense or unconstitutional expense, nobody should raise it again?
I am saying that when the auditors come, they look at the record. When they have issues, they raise the issues. Then they give it to the management, whoever it is who is responsible, especially the spending officer. And they ask you for your explanation. Perhaps the thing is there. They didn't see it. So then you explain to them. And once you explain to them, that ends the matter. So the fact that it was even raised in a query does not mean that is the end of the matter, because you are now given the opportunity to respond. Something you have experience, don't you? So having responded, and they left it in the final management letter, pointing out the areas they find the judicial service didn't do well, and this one did not come out. How do you turn around? And this committee, this report was before you. I specifically asked Domelevo, who was sitting there, whether this is not a procedure. He agreed. I think he even said there's a difference between audit observation and audit query. But these days they talk about audit or observation or something.
All right.
This is what happened, and the report is there. So where is this thing coming from?
Right. So let's put the committee in perspective. From the letter to the Chief Justice, which said, in the opinion of the committee, quote, in the opinion of the committee, the travel expenses which the Chief Justice heaped on the Judicial Service when she traveled on holidays in September 2023, first to Tanzania with her husband and second to the United States of America with her daughter, together with the payment of per diem to the spouse and daughter of the Chief Justice, constitute unlawful expenditure of public funds. Lawful, it is also unconstitutional. You are saying once the auditor didn't make any such claims, a committee like this cannot be heard to say what they said?
Please don't trivialize it. One of the members of the Judicial Council happened to be Gabriel Scott Puama. He had always been there with them, taking all the decisions, including travel policy. I explained the last time I was here that because of the judicial independence, they also granted them financial independence and asked them to work according to what they think is best to secure their independence. And therefore, they told them that it is only the Judicial Council that can determine anything which is pertaining to them, and not necessarily the executive. Not necessarily the executive. So the travel policy was something that came out from the Judicial Council, where Puama has been serving. And he knows that there was this travel policy which allows the Chief Justice to travel with a person of her own choice, and that whatever, whatever per diem is given to her, the person is traveling with will be given half. These are not stories. They are all there. The Chief Justice's appointment letter stated clearly that she will be entitled to 2 vacations in a year, and she can choose wherever she wants to go. Her duty is to tell them that this is vacation period, I intend to travel. Then the spending officers will work, buy the tickets, do all the protocols, and then give her whatever her entitlements are, and then she uses that to travel. I am challenging them. Let anybody bring a document where the Judicial Service or Secretary said, these are your entitlements, and then the Chief Justice said, no, I will not accept it. Give me this rather. Nothing of the sort happened. And I'm saying I've gone through it twice as a Minister of Justice and Attorney General and as a High Commissioner. When I'm to travel, I don't get involved. All I tell them is that I need to travel. They work it and bring it to me, which is why you have a spending officer who is held liable. How did they change it? With Domelevo sitting there, now saying that she being the overall head. Where has it happened before? That the President of the Republic is being held responsible for the acts of the chief directors of the various ministries because he's the overall executive. Where has it happened before?
The central point that was raised by the petitioner is that in that travel policy, it provides a limit. And it says with an emphasis that the CJ can travel with the security alone. For a foreign travel, the security alone. Then they even impeach the policy by saying that as an Article 71 office holder, it is the president, or is it the other way? No, when committees are set up to determine emoluments,
Yes.
it is the committee set up under Article 71 that determines what you are entitled to.
Yeah.
And anything beyond that is unconstitutional, is unlawful. Yeah. And then they quote the CJ herself in at least 2 or 3 different cases where she insists that anything beyond what has been determined by the president or parliament, president for parliament, parliament for president, and so on, is unconstitutional. And it is the reason when Abronye took the case to the Supreme Court about the spouses of presidents and vice presidents getting paid as ministers, the CJ led in that decision and said, you won't even allow, even if Parliament was approving it that way, it will not be allowed. You don't agree with them that you can't fault the committee on this?
We fault the committee. The adjudicator brought a document on travel policy and per diems. In that travel policy, they said the people should be public officers. Then there was a footnote in which they stated that these things we have brought do not affect the judiciary because they are an independent body. He brought it and we pointed that out to him. They were all sitting in the committee, we tendered it.
Okay.
In fact, we allowed it to be tendered and brought it out to show them that it does not apply to the judiciary.
Yeah.
They stated clearly that their terms and conditions and all those purpose of office should be determined by the council. And I'm saying Puama was a member of the council.
Mami tiasie wonenenka, papa tiasie wonenenka, unia tiasie wonenenka, oba tiasie wonenenka, uye dia washisho niema, oniema tankai, faniema ko, aso beifo, faniema ko, oniema ye time, faniema ko, ye wonainya, faniema ko, ekuma beifo, faniema ko. Oniema tantan, oniema tantan, mami tiasie wonenenka, papa tiasie wonenenka, ukunu tiasie wonenenka, oba tiasie wonenenka, owuye dia shisha oniema, ekuma beifo, oniema tantan, ye aso beifo, ye wonainya, ekuma tantan, aso tantan, ye wohini posi, ye wanimenyinya, ye wohubasa ye wuye timodinfo, ye wumwanipa, ye ebra wotiasye, uwudia woye nieme kuntain, ye woniema tantain, ye woniema fiefi, woniema asene, woniema tantain, ye kuma beifo, ye aso beifo.
Good evening. Welcome to this edition of the show. What kind of a country are we building? In 2001, the Parliament of the Third Parliament of the Fourth Republic graciously repealed the criminal libel law. Criminal libel law was repealed so that you cannot be criminalized for saying something. Criminalizing speech was inimical to the progress of democracy. Abronye Kwame Boafo is being put in police cells and denied bail because of something he said. He is reported to have said that the Inspector General of Police, the Honorable Christian Tete Yohonu, COP Christian Tete Yohonu, the Inspector General of Police, he alleged that the Inspector General of Police is corrupt in one of the broadcasts that he does. In view of this matter and other things that he's reported to have said, Abronye DC is being charged with an offense which is said to be by his lawyers a misdemeanor. And for that reason, he is kept in cells. Everyone on social media, including NDC people, are unhappy about that. Everyone thinks that it is not important to arrest somebody because of something he said. How many times did our friends and brothers, like Captain Smart, not say, Akufo-Addo, oh yeah, Kronfo? Nobody arrested them because Akufo-Addo shouldn't arrest them for saying that he's a Kronfo. If at all, he should sue them. The other day, a newspaper publication said that Akufo-Addo's brother, he has been using the presidential jet. What did Akufo-Addo's brother do? He went to the civil court, took out a writ of defamation, and he sued them. I don't even know whether the matter is ended. That's how we build a democratic society. Because criminalizing speech is the first and major antidote for the growth of democracy. And all of these people that we eulogize, Kwesi Pratt Jr., who is launching his book today, he's finished launching by now, Kweku Baku Jr., who attended the event graciously, Nyao Nyahotamaklo, who was at the event, Nana Adodankwa Akufo-Addo, former president, who also was in the fight, Ben Efson, Cabral Bleami here, all of these people went into a fight with government so that speech will not be criminalized, so that journalism, blogism, if there's something like that, publication, Facebookism can be done and people can sue. I saw my brother Bobre answer comment about it in a way that was very interesting. I'd like to show you the video. Have a look.
Now, what I'm hearing, almost say the arrest is based on the fact that or say IGP corrupt. I think okay, so can be so far Remonacha Yoko. So when I make us a Mr. Minima Semnimu and still you're finding out me position on this matter. And you see, I believe in principles. Me position on this matter. Say, dear me mateno, yes, then I think Abronya arrest is needless. Dear me mateno, ebia, now there is something beyond. Dear, but if only the issue is about the waka afa IGP one. IGP, I mean, he's an individual. He's a person. If it's about IGP, we are corrupt. IGP can go to court. And IGP doing court. He can go to court for defamation. I don't think say a criminal. And you're criminal. These are some of the things. But I mean, the entire me raise here. Your supporters, no. Enemy followers say ya na bebre buafu because they feel say bobie omo be ye o in this omo be MPP ni bia kamano tum. Yes, omo be ye me feel say it's wrong. That heavy PDB ye me feel say it's wrong, no. That is I still insist say it's wrong. My pencil, it was wrong, and today I come and defend it, say, and then you're right. The reason why I make us wrong is because I went through the same process and it was wrong. So if say you're wrong now, I don't see how I can justify it today, say, and then you're right. I mean.
That was Bobi Ansah, who is, he calls himself an NDC foot soldier. Oliver Vomaho, one of the human rights activists, put it on his Facebook page that he doesn't even understand why they are doing that. There's so much conflict. Check social media. There's conflict in the north. Police are needed everywhere. And the police machinery is used to arrest and have Abronye in cells to teach him a lesson that he said that the IGP, he alleged that the IGP was corrupt. The Inspector General of Police. So if a person is Inspector General of Police and something is said about him, he should use the police machinery because he has authority to arrest those people. Whilst the Parliament of 2001, when they were repealing the criminal libel law, I was looking for it today, it just took a bit long. Thursday, I'll bring it. I'll bring the memorandum that went to Parliament. The philosophy behind why Parliament voted en bloc, unanimously, the whole Parliament, NDC, MPP, voted unanimously that this issue of criminalizing speech is something that should be banished to our history. Now, 2025, 24 years after 2001, 24 years after 2001, we are back at the same place, dealing and battling with criminal libel under a different guise of causing fear and panic. There's some regulation like that. I remember that the people at, what are they called? Where Manasseh used to work, Suleiman Brame's people, Kwame Kaikai, Fourth Estate and Media Foundation, them, West Africa, they were saying that also has to be repealed because governments can apply it. The other day, Kandapa arrested some journalists. You remember that? He arrested them. They had published something and something about presidential jet. And he arrested them. There was a lot of hue and outcry from everywhere. And in that conversation, they said that this should be. Abronye DC sits in his place as regional chairman of the New Patriotic Party. Sits in his place at Sunyani. He's opened a podcast. He attacks MPP people, NDC people. On occasion, I have had occasion to call him to talk about the Duncan Williams situation, and he had explained, and we spoke about it, and the matter died. If he says something, the libel courts are there, especially given what everyone is really quiet about on social media, but we have all seen it. We have seen people who have said worse things, who have been given national security protection in this country. They have said worse things about people, not just about IGP, but about chiefs, about pastors, about everyone. And they have been given national security protection. And then we have Abronye say something about IGP, and then they arrest him and they keep him there till Friday, 12 September. That's when he's going to reappear in court. And it's a complaint by whom? I'm not even sure. Maybe his lawyers will come in, they'll come and tell us. A complaint by whom? Is it a complaint by the Honorable COP, Christian Tatayoonu, the Inspector General of Police? Is he the complainant in the matter? Is another person the complainant in the matter? What is the foundation of the complaint? That Abronye had said something against him, something he has said, and it's criminal? I don't get it. Let's go to the touch screen and see what the minority in Parliament wrote about this matter. It's a very difficult and concerning matter, given that most of the youth are, because we don't want, everyone wants their party to win election. Yes, that's correct. If I'm MPP, I want MPP to win election. If somebody's NDC, they want NDC to win election. There's no problem about that. But we don't want a society that is funny. We don't want a society. That's why when you go on social media, whether NDC or MPP, you find everybody says, what's this Abronye arrest about? What is it? What is it about? The other day here in Metro TV, during the election, during our program Good Morning Ghana, some guy who was an auctioneer came with police. It was mistaken to be a police action on the program. You remember the outrage from both MPP and NDC. We don't want these things in Ghana because we have long gone past it. We have been told by our forebears that they have fought the battle and removed the criminal libel law. Kweku Baako and others. They removed the criminal libel law in Parliament in 2001. 24 years later, we have to be having this conversation in Ghana, Africa's finest democracy, Africa's best democracy. For 35 years, we have had uninterrupted changing elections. From in 2000, Ghana was celebrated as the African country since the end of the Second World War that has been able to change government peacefully. Ghana was celebrated 25 years ago that we are the country that has been able to change peacefully. Since then, we have done it in 2008, we have done it in 2016, we have done it in 2024. And in 2025, we have to be thinking about whether there's criminal libel or not. People have to be concerned about what they say. 9 September 2025, for immediate release. Statements by the Minority Caucus on remand of Kwame Bafo, Abronye DC, and the growing culture of political persecution and abuse of power. The Minority Caucus expresses grave concern over the arrest and remand of Kwame Bafo Abronye, popularly known as Abronye DC, the Bono regional chairman of the New Patriotic Party. Mr. Bafo was arraigned before the Accra Circuit Court today and remanded into police custody until Friday, 12 September 2025, on 2 charges of alleged offensive conduct conducive to a breach of the peace. The circumstances surrounding Abronye DC's arrest and detention reveal a disturbing pattern. The government is increasingly weaponizing the judicial system against perceived opponents. This vague and overly broad application of the law falls far short of international standards of legal specificity. Even more troubling, his arrest follows attempts to seek political asylum in 8 countries, citing persecution and threats to his life. The denial of bail and his remand clearly suggests punishment, not justice. This case is not isolated. We see a deliberate and systematic campaign to suppress dissent. Journalists, social commentators, and opposition figures harassed through arbitrary arrest and detention, state security deployed to intimidate citizens who expose corruption or question government narratives, a climate of fear where ordinary people hesitate to exercise their constitutional right to free expression. Such orchestrated persecution is a betrayal of the democratic principles upon which Ghana was founded. The Minority Caucus stands in solidarity with all voices of dissent and affirms their right to hold government accountable without fear of persecution. Meanwhile, government's neglect of urgent national crisis is glaring. In the northern region of Ghana, communal violence has claimed at least 31 lives and displaced nearly 50,000 people, with more than 13,000 forced to seek refuge in Côte d'Ivoire. This is not just a local tragedy, it is a regional humanitarian emergency that shames our nation. That citizens must cross international borders to find safety is an indictment of a government that has abandoned its basic duty to protect its people. Our northern compatriots deserve urgent attention, not the neglect and indifference that have characterized the state's response so far. Political witch hunts cannot be used as smokescreen to deflect attention from this humanitarian disaster. We also draw attention to an alarming escalation of threats against political leaders, including the minority leader, Honorable Osahene Alexander Afenyo Markin, our Chief Whip, Honorable Frank Anodompre, and our national organizer, Mr. Henry Nana Boache Nanabi. Reports of assassination plot issued openly by NDC executives and their associates while authorities look away signal a dangerous deterioration of democratic tolerance. This climate of intimidation is not a partisan issue. It is an assault on democracy itself. Such threats violate international democratic norms and cannot be dismissed as mere local politics. They demand immediate, serious investigation. The Ghana Police Service must rise above partisanship, abandon its current posture as a tool of the ruling party, and guarantee protection for all political actors regardless of affiliation. The Minority Caucus reiterates that this government has abandoned its constitutional obligation, choosing instead the path of authoritarian consolidation, judicial persecution, executive overreach, economic manipulation, and security failures have converged into a perfect storm that endangers both democracy and development in Ghana. We remain resolute in our commitment to uphold the rule of law, protect human rights, and restore public trust in our democratic institutions. Ghana's democracy is too precious to be surrendered to fear, intimidation, and authoritarian excesses. It's signed by Judicial. He's the second deputy minority whip. He's also the MP for Weja Bawe constituency. Now, this is the video that they refer to, where a young man who obviously belongs to the NDC, I believe it was during the Akwitia by-election, goes out there and threatens names of people, boldly speaking to media. He's not worried that if you carry out such threats publicly, you may be apprehended by the police and you may be asked not to go within a certain distance of the people that you are threatening, etc., etc. All of those laws which are alive in other democracies are not here, or he believes that nothing will happen to him based on the color of his party. I'm not sure why. I'm not so sure why. But here he is.
I'm not done pray. Nana B. Umudiagwa wallahi umbewu. Mi donya kupon. Me kabe papa shafom. Afana Markin, I'm not done pray. Nana B. Omuni ehwehwe mobile issue mu. I'm not done pray. Nana B. Umudiagwa wallahi umbewu. Mi donya kupon. Me kabe papa shafom. Afana Markin, I'm not done pray. Nana B. Omuni ehwehwe mobile issue.
Did you hear that? It may be empty threats, but what kind of environment in a democracy allows an individual speaking to journalists in the open, in the plain, to say that these persons, if they joke, they will die, and it's okay? Nobody asking me any question. A certain environment should be created in the future, in the near future, where when we go out for political events, People are not able to threaten people that way. I don't even remember that happening recently. We had a brutal feisty election in 2024. We had a brutal election in 2016. We had a brutal election in 2020 during COVID. I don't remember these things happening. I don't remember them happening. That people can go onto the mic, say, Lord Comey, go onto the mic and say that Samuel Kujeto Ablakwa, Sam George, they will die. If they do, there will be by-election in Pram Pram. They will see. I don't remember that. What are we doing? This is not NDC or MPP. This is about the democracy that has been bequeathed to us. Bequeathed to us because a lot of us were born recently, so we didn't have even voting rights at the time the people who fought for the 1992 Constitution were fighting for it. So if we started having voting rights from 2000 election or 2004, that democracy has been bequeathed to us. But the actors are still around and books have been written. We have read it. And we know what has happened in Parliament. And we were to assume that criminal libel is gone. You can say what you want to say, especially in the circumstance where nobody wants to say it. Because we have been in this country and people who have said worse things have come into the country and have obtained national security protection. As a result of the things they themselves knew that they have said, they have organized national security protection for people who have said worse things. But Abronya DC, because of his political color, because he touched on somebody who is in power's nerve or something, the Inspector General of Police is very concerned that Abronya DC says that, alleges that he's corrupt. Shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. Now I hear there's a demonstration coming up and they call it this one. It's coming up. I understand that tomorrow they are holding a press conference and they are going to pour themselves out onto the street. Because you see, if you look at election results, the candidates of the both parties, they both got more than 1 million votes. Both candidates can throw up 200,000 people on the street, and that would be chaotic in Accra. They can throw 200,000 people on the street. Because when people are frustrated in this manner, they have nothing to do but to go on the street. So they say, Chiyem Preku, catch, arrest all of us once and for all. They say it's coming soon. Apparently, they are writing to the police for permission to demonstrate because they are tired. Fancy comedy. Then he says he is arrested. Then somebody there is arrested. Abronya D is arrested. Why? Is that the democracy? When power changes hands, we should go deeper into some of these ugly things so that we don't push our democracy forward. Every epoch should see an advancement of the democracy. 1992 to 1996 saw an advancement of it. 96 to 2000 saw a further advancement in it. 2000, 2004, we moved further. Up to 2008, we moved further. We are now beginning to take our elections for granted. Those days, Kwesi Pratt used to be concerned about the peace industry. In 2012, he was worried that anytime you're having elections, you have people say peace, oh, peace, oh. We are now getting, except some of the ugly events of the post-2024 voting, we are really getting to the point where we can take the election for granted. We'll vote and sleep and wake up and somebody will win and we move on. That's where we are getting to. And now these things, I don't think it's great. Permit me now to introduce the program. Later tonight, we have 10 questions for President John Dramani Mahama's press conference that I'm expecting Abronya's lawyers, if they come, then I'll put them on and then they tell us a few things. 10 questions for President John Mahama is coming. Fifi Kwete is upset. At the NDC Lawyers Forum, he raised an issue about the threat of oral Operation Recover All Loot, which is oral. There's a threat that Fifi Kwete is announcing that some NDC lawyers are cutting deals with some of these former quote-unquote corrupt MPP officials. He spoke about it, and we have the video, and now we're going to deal with it in some particular detail so that we can all understand. As part of our editorial on that one, we will be suggesting which lawyers Fifi Kwete may be referring to. So we're going to put all the very well-known NDC lawyers here, and we ask ourselves, which one is Fifi Kwete referring to? On the President's 10 questions, we have 10 questions that we think President Mahama should be asked by the media tomorrow. When we have done that, we'll also open the phone lines for you. America says that you're not giving Ghana money anymore. NDC says it's MPP's fault. MPP says that it's NDC's fault. Whose fault truly is it? We're going to find out on the touch screen what it is as we talk about Sami Okujeto Ablakwa. The Asante Akim issue is also coming up. Meanwhile, let me bring up Kwesi Kwarteng again. Just before I take the break. This is Kwesi Kwarteng. And the other day I came here and said that he speaks very well and he measures, you know. The MPP seem to have some good speakers. The next election is going to be interesting because you have Miracles Abuaje, who is a celebrated, very well-spoken communicator for the party. Now Kwesi Kwarteng is emerging that he's doing very well. Something happened that some of you may not have seen. So he said something. He had a Twitter spat with the lady, the Dr. Ekuya. Dr. Ekuya is also she's very respectful. That's what I see about her when I watch Good Morning Ghana. Very, very, very respectful lady. And as a medical doctor, she speaks well. But of course, she belongs to the Baumia camp. We know that. And Kwesi Kwarteng belongs to the Kennedy Japan camp. They had a spat on social media in which Kwesi Kwarteng had said something about the northern crisis ahead of the election, the Boku issue. I think it offended the Mamprugu youth. And so they issued a statement. Let's see what statement they issued. Okay, you don't have it put out. The statement they issued is, Kwesi Kwarteng and Kennedy Japan must retract their lies and apologize to the people of Mamprugu. And they said the attention of the Mamprugu Youth Association Boku chapter has been drawn to a reckless and malicious social media post authored by Mr. Kwesi Kwarteng, spokesperson for Kennedy Japan, alleging that former Vice President Dr. Baumia flew a rival chief to Boku, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so the Mamprugu youth put this statement out. They were quite upset about it. What does Kwesi Kwarteng do? And this is where I'm commending him. Kwesi Kwarteng comes back on the Twitter and says, I have reached out to Mr. Abdul Majid Bagura, the secretary of the Mamprugu Youth Association, Boku chapter, to clarify the context of my earlier comments regarding Boku matters. We came to a better understanding that my statement was a direct reaction to an unfortunate tweet made by Dr. Ekuya Amwako, deputy spokesperson for Dr. Baumia's campaign, and was never intended to undermine ongoing efforts to foster peace within the Boku enclave. Like all well-meaning Ghanaians, I remain deeply concerned about ensuring lasting peace and stability for our brothers and sisters in that part of the country. In line with this commitment, I have since deleted the post in question. Wow. Wow. So when the Mamprugu people reacted, Kwesi Kwarteng called the guy. I said, oh, Chief, I'm sorry, it's not whatever. They had a conversation. Few minutes later, Kwesi Kwarteng posted this, that he has reached out to the guy and they have had a conversation. That's how political communication ought to be run. You say something and you have to notice when you have said something that this is very wrong. And then you have to reach out to people and make peace and move on. This is excellent. I think that Kwesi Kwarteng should be commended. I think he should be commended for the way, put his picture back, for the way he does these things. I mean, you should watch him when you see him talking, especially when he's paired with miracles. It's just beautiful. It's really, really good. I think that these are great future communicators for the future government of Ghana if the MPP gets there. They are very, very powerful, very solid, sound. You know, they are well-meaning, no insults. They deal with the matters. It's just amazing. I think that Ghana is getting onto something very, very good with the list of the MPP communicators that are showing up in this election from Baumia's camp, Kennedy's camp, Brian Achampon's camp. It looks very good. I think that Kwesi, good show, yeah, good show. Keep it up. Yeah, okay. All right. Now, let's deal with take the text messages and then we come to the Asante Akim North matter. And I said something here that I saw on Ghana Web as a story, and I've seen lawyers also respond to it. And we said that there could be a by-election in the Asante Akim constituency. We now have more information and we're going to deal with it in a minute. Let's take the text messages from Anziba and then we come back onto the touch screen. Anziba, what are people saying?
Thank you very much, Paul. Our first message is coming from Samuel Ofusuba. He says, I'm very sorry for the inconvenience and illegality that the current government machinery is operating in this jurisdiction. The international community is blatantly observing. We won't be surprised to see its rippling effect. Ata Edusei Ernest Edusei says, Paul, the arrests have become too rampant. Why is Mahama criminalizing speech? Emmanuel Kwachi Ejapon says the NDC government should remember that power is transient. Mashood Yakubu says freedom of expression comes with responsibility. Balfour Richard says the arrest of Abronia is nothing but a clear political witch hunt. We've seen worse statements from politicians on the other side go unpunished, yet suddenly the rule of law is awake when it comes to him. This selective application of justice is dangerous. It erodes trust in our institutions and exposes how the system is being weaponized against its opponents. If Ghana truly believes in the rule of law, then it must be applied fairly and equally, not only when it suits government's interests. From Salifu Godfred, he says, such a character calling himself a regional chairman. Junior Agba says, Ghana is becoming like a jungle force. Dusty Man says, I'm really surprised that the IGP will use such little opportunity granted to him as an IGP to arrest someone that allegedly insulted him. Was he in the country when Nanando was brutally insulted? Lastly, from Kasim Abu Sadiq, he says, it is really sad how we got here as a country. Insults are definitely not part of the Ghanaian culture, but people shouldn't hide behind it politically to intimidate their opponents. I have maintained that a political party doesn't need to mismanage the economy before they lose an election. Some of these things lead to the defeat of most governments, and the NDC should take cue. Over to you, Paul.
Asante Akim North. Is there a by-election or there's no by-election? Now, those of you who don't know much about the Asante Akim North, the story is very interesting. So I put up the results of the last election, 2024 election. The New Patriotic Party seemed to have been badly divided in Asante Akim North. Reasons for that we are still researching, but some of it come across as the parliamentary candidates did not make amends with people, etc., etc. Whatever it is. One candidate, Ohini Kwame Frimpong, presented himself as an independent candidate. Please put the results up, let everyone see it. And then that's the results on your screen now. Now, on the far right of your screen, it's Ohini Kwame Frimpong. Now, viewers, I have never seen an independent candidate win so big in an election. This is amazing. Independent candidate, independent candidates win all the time, but they win marginally, 1,000, 2,000, that, etc., etc. And then they always say that if he didn't go, if you add this and that, he wouldn't have won. But this is an independent candidate who had absolute control over the constituency. Absolute. Not majority or marginal control. He had absolute control. So look at the results. Andy Appiah Kubi, the incumbent MP, who is the MPP candidate, lawyer Andy Appiah Kubi, pulls up 8,933 on the 9th of December 7, 2024. The NDC candidate, Chief Kofi Asamoah, gets a mere 2,469. And then Ohini Kwame Frimpong, the independent candidate, closes up with 26,926. This, from our records in the Fourth Republic, is the biggest independent candidate win ever recorded in the political history of the Fourth Republic. Now, I'm coming to the story. So this is Ohene Kwame Frimpong. Now, who is Ohene Kwame Frimpong? So let's deal with it. Okay, I'll come to this photograph in a bit. Now, this is Ohene Kwame Frimpong in this photograph, shaking hands with the Asante Hene, Otumfo Osei Tutu II. I'm sure somewhere in the Asante Akim constituency area. Now, this is Ohene Kwame Frimpong in company of Alhaji Mahamadu Dr. Bawumia, former vice president and former MPP presidential candidate for the 2024 election. This is the same Ohene Frimpong. Interesting. Now, this is Ohene Frimpong. This is a very interesting photograph. Now, this photograph is taken at the end of the 2020 election, where the Asante Akim people elect Andy Apiakubi here in your photograph. Now, that's Andy Apiakubi, and next to him is Ohene Kwame Frimpong, who became an independent candidate in the 2024 election. But this is 2020, where Ohene Kwame Frimpong and Andy Apiakubi were doing very fine. That's Andy Apiakubi in your shot there. Ohene Kwame Frimpong walloped him completely at the polls, completely defeated him. This, again, is Ohene Kwame Frimpong in a handshake with some, I don't know whether it's a chief, but he has an MPP thing in his neck. So you know that he's an MPP guy. Okay. This is now interesting. Ohene Kwame Frimpong here, I believe after the victory of 2024 with Dr. Mwako Hine, the Ashanti regional minister. So obviously there had been some collaboration, hadn't there? This is an interesting photograph. Ohene Kwame Frimpong constructed a mosque for the people of Asante Akim. And that's where some of his problems came. At the opening of the mosque, he invited Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia, of course. He invited the chief imam. But he also invited John Dramani Mahama to the event ahead of the election. And the MPP went, hey, what do you think? Why are you doing that? Etc., etc. But problems came. And so he ran as an independent candidate. This is Ohene Kwame Frimpong here with President John Dramani Mahama. Here. There you go. I don't know when this photograph was taken, but it looks like it was taken after the election, and I believe this is President Mahama's home. That's Ohene Kwame Frimpong, who went to see President John Dramani Mahama. So, okay, what is the story? So the story is that there's still a bit of tension in the constituency between the New Patriotic Party and some of them in the New Patriotic Party who wanted Ohene Kwame Frimpong as their candidate for the election and were believing that Ohene Kwame Frimpong would deliver the seat big time. Somehow that didn't happen. Apiakubi became the candidate. But Ohene Kwame Frimpong has had a divorce situation with his wife in the United Kingdom. So word came round that the divorce had been messy and all of that, and he was in jail or he was going to be in jail and all of those things. And it's some of that word that came to us that we published. And then I had engagement with his lawyers and with him himself, and apparently there's no problem. He has no problem in UK. He has settled his divorce matter. His ex-wife and the rest of the family live where they live. Everything that had been agreed on a divorce had been done. So he and his lawyers were surprised. But he told me that he knows that there's machinations of politicians and they are looking for a by-election. So because the Ghana Web carried the story, it is important for us to state here now that at this time, there is no by-election looming in Asante Akim. Because Ohene Kwame Frimpong, the Honorable Member of Parliament for the constituency, is intact. He has no problem with Interpol. He has no problem with UK police. And he has gone through a divorce situation, as many others do. But there's no problem about that. He believes that the fallout of the divorce is where his ex-wife is telling people this and that. Stories are being fabricated. And there's absolutely no problem. So the Electoral Commission knows that there's no problem at Asante Akim. Now, Ohene Kwame Frimpong and his lawyers told me an interesting story. His lawyers said that if we will not credit the man for improving the democracy in our parliament, we shouldn't berate him. So I said, what has he done? What has he improved the democracy in our parliament? They said, oh, you did that parliamentarians be allowed to speak in their local language. I hope the video is ready. That parliamentarians be allowed to speak in their local language. He, Ohene Kwame Frimpong, is the one who channeled it. And I remember that, but I don't remember who first used it. So they sent me the video. Have a look at the video. This is the video.
We turn to Asante Akim North. Speaker, thank you very much for acknowledging me. Once again, I want to stand on order 63, 1, and speak the local language. Me bacho speaker Mr. Ayasim Bisa a question bacho. Odaroma Asante Akim North na me free. Mfie bebree ni yen kan yansem aye problem kese pa. Me wadwuma okrom ho na me radio station ho. Na yehwe the way a transform ansem ene empen bebree yen kan yan ni nyina so me kromfo no aka kire me se omo sere me me ne opani nkasa eye minister nkasa sebe ya emfie bebree atwam no na Asante Akim North yen kan yansem nya kura enei Awurade ayadom yenya honorable energy minister ewa ha honorable energy minister ewa ha aniti the minister ne say nka obetimi enya eye empanifo bi no ma ba behwe Asante Akim North na ye transform ansem ne yenka ne asem ewo ho e de aboaye to wait I want to thank you for indulging me. The question I want to pose to the minister today is I want to find out if the honorable minister can be able to help Asante Akim North get a proper solution, a permanent solution to the lighting problem in my constituency. Most often, people complain about the power outages, and then also the fact that, they complain about the energy problem within my constituency, and so I want to alert the minister to please come to the aid of Asante Akim North so that the power problems we are having in the constituency will be permanently solved. Thank you very much. I appreciate your concern. Mr. Speaker, before him, Mr. Speaker.
I think there's something to admire about that, isn't it? Asante Akim North MP Ohene Kwame Frimpong gaining 26,000. He also is the owner of Salt FM. If you remember, he's in Agogo. It was one of the major bedrocks of the MPP. He's been a major financier of the MPP going forward. And if there's anything to tell MPP, perhaps MPP should reconcile the situation at Asante Akim North. The guy is very popular, but the thing is that he now sits with the NDC. He caucuses with the NDC majority in parliament. So that's the problem that MPP. He doesn't sit with MPP, he sits with NDC. And some of his supporters I called in Asante Akim told me that he needed to do that so that he would get development projects to his constituency. Because he sits with the minority, they don't have the power of the purse, the power of the government. They can't bring anything there. He's independent. I said to them that, but if he sits with the NDC, how is he going to find his way back to the MPP to run? They said, well, if the MPP don't want him, he'll run as independent and he'll win again. That's what they told me. Anyway, so that's the correction to the Asante Akim stories. Okay. My younger brother, please tell Samuel Kujeto that, those of you who know him, that when I send him text, he should respond because I'm older than him. He shouldn't be ignoring people who are older than him's text. When somebody's older than you, they send you text, you have to respond because they're older than you. But he doesn't respond. I like to query and also to praise him. Let me start with the praises. What has he done? I was looking at social media on his Facebook page when I saw that he had found and identified. Please get me the cartoon, the foreign ministry cartoon that we did many weeks ago, if you can find it. If you can't find it. We did a cartoon that we haven't used, so I'm just telling them to put that cartoon together. The foreign ministry cartoon. Samuel Kujeto Ablakwa wrote on his Facebook page that in addition to celebrating 101-year-old legendary Ambassador Richard Akwe, we completed our distinguished honors list by awarding the following: Dr. Obeda Samoa, Ghana's longest-serving foreign minister, also served as Attorney General and a profile and a prolific author. Ambassador James Victor Beho held numerous positions, including foreign ministry, blah, blah, blah. Dr. Mohamed Ibn Chambers served as foreign minister, blah, blah, blah. Ambassador Chris Podo served as deputy foreign minister, blah, blah, blah. The only problem is that these are all NDC. Sami didn't find any of the MPP foreign ministers and foreign service people to award. Ambassador DK Ose, Nana Dudanko Akufo-Addo, Hakman Owusu-Agyemang. Anyway, so this is the list of the people who were honored by the foreign ministry. And I'm really gratified to see Ambassador Victor Gbeho. He's the last one here. He's the first from the left, Ambassador Victor Gbeho. Very, very intelligent man who gave us a lot of insights back in the day as foreign minister. Julius Debra there in your shots, the chief of staff. And then here is the man who is 101. And then I see Ambassador Mohammed Ibn Chambers. This is Mr. Jachi Kwesin, who is the deputy foreign minister. Ambassador Mohammed Chambers also here. This is something commendable that the foreign ministry did. And I think that we have to commend the foreign minister and the chief of staff who graced the occasion beautifully for this. That's Ambassador Victor Gbeho. Fantastic guy. Victor Gbeho is one of the most intelligent people that you can engage with. Very, very, very interesting man. And Victor Gbeho is very interested in youth. And those days he was out and about. You can go to his house at Airport Residential area and ask him any question. He will normally not allow you to interview and record him, but he'll give you the answers so that you can use it for what you want to use it for. Mohammed Ibn Chambers is a darling of everyone. And those of us who know him know that he's a great, 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 great mind. And other people who were awarded by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Chief of Staff, giving his address at the event, the Honorable Julius Debra. And here is Samuel Kujeto Ablakwa speaking. Obed Asamoah, of course, on the unmistakable figure of Dr. Obed Asamoah. Very, very towering figure. And he gave us a great interview in 2017 when we were doing our first documentary. We went over to his home in McCarthy Hill. We spent about 5 hours with him. And he told us so much. And in those days, he was putting his book together. It was a delight to hang around great, experienced brains like Obed Asamoah. Up on the hill at McCarthy Hill, I still can find my way to his house. I've been there so many times. I used to go there when he was Attorney General. In those days, his close friend is Larry Ajete. And Larry and co will be there. They'll be chatting. And then I'll go and listen to filler, as they used to say. Good evening, Doc. I know that you're asleep by this time, but I still owe you a visit. I will come. I'll come over. Dr. Obed Asamoah, Ambassador Victor Gbeho, and all the others who graced the occasion. So that's a plus for Samuel Kujeto and his people at the Foreign Affairs. But this one is a minus. Let's get to it. This is Enoch Kofi Nyarko reminding us of something fantastic. When COVID-19 was peaking, Okujeto wanted governments to bring in Ghanaians in China. During the Russia-Ukraine war, he went to Ukraine at a point to engage the Ghanaian students, all as ranking member of the Foreign Affairs Committee of Parliament. Now, he is the Foreign Affairs Minister. Thank God. We have over 14,000 displaced citizens, with many becoming refugees in Ivory Coast. One would have thought that now that he has the power, he will quickly go to Ivory Coast to visit them, especially when the people are from the president's hometown. That is a very serious matter. A foreign minister who in opposition can travel to Ukraine, that he is going to commiserate with Ghanaian students who are there because some war has broken, a very important bad war has broken out. This is Okujeto Ablakwa with Ukraine students. 2nd March 2022, he went to Ukraine to go and talk to Ghanaian students who had been arranged by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs as the ranking member, to go and talk to them and told them that they should vote for NDC because NPP people are corrupt, that they are thieves. So they should vote for NDC. That's what Ablakwa told the students. You see how he's smiling here? How can it be that the Honorable Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa is foreign minister today? 13,000 Ghanaians have been displaced in next door Cote d'Ivoire. We have not seen a single statement from him. A single one. Not a single statement from the Honorable Foreign Minister. We haven't seen a single statement from him, not one statement from him about the fact that people have been displaced. But why? Parliament is not in session. But an urgent question should be written for the Foreign Minister based on his past record of having the courtesy to go to Ukraine and visit Ghanaians. And now he is Foreign Affairs Minister. He has one deputy. He has chief directors. He has the Jubilee House. This is about the president's hometown. There's also about Boku. They have crossed over. As the Interior Minister said, we would have thought that we'll see the Interior Minister, the Acting Minister for Defense, the Foreign Minister, the Minister for Environment, and the Minister for Lands going in there to go and see those refugees and bring them to Ghana. Because a large part of Ghana is peaceful. But the foreign minister didn't do that. He is sitting in Accra. He is at Kwesi Pratt's book launch. Then he's here. Then he's there. He is not going to solve the problem of the ordinary Ghanaians, most of whom, if you look at that geographic area, most of whom must have voted for the National Democratic Congress. This is not correct. And we can't let it pass. Even at the fear of being arrested, we can't let it pass. We can't let it pass. How can the foreign minister ignore the people? We don't have the power to go there. The foreign minister can marshal the armed forces and drop a helicopter in there and go and see them and let the people feel that Ghana has not forgotten about them. It is very, very important that those people feel that Ghana has not forgotten about them and that we are sitting in Ghana, southern Ghana, middle belt Ghana because we are fine. We are eating our kwekpele as we did recently for Homowo. We are eating our fufu and we are having our social events. We are doing funeral here, funeral there, and they have been left behind. They are in another person's country and nobody is minding them. We can't have that. So please, Ablakwa, this is for you. You can't continue to do that. Go to Ivory Coast and bring our people back home. They deserve to be here. There are plenty places we can keep them. In Accra and Kumasi and Takoradi, there are places you can find for them. This is a strong republic. This is independent Ghana. The other day, you wrote a letter to a foreign senator and he said that this is Kwame Nkrumah's Ghana. Have you seen Kwame Nkrumah's Ghana where refugees are in Cote d'Ivoire and we can't bring them home? And as foreign minister, you say absolutely nothing about it to the general public? Nothing at all? We don't see you do what you did when you were in opposition. For which reason people voted for you? Have you abandoned the cause? Because now you are an international diplomat and you are sipping champagne in Rome and you are sipping champagne in Milan. Is that what you are doing? And therefore you have abandoned the ordinary Ghanaians who put you there? These are questions for Ablakwa. Oh, it's 10:27. Let me leave it here. I need to get to the president's 10 questions and also get to Fifi Kwete's concerns. Okay, so I'll drop the American part of the story, yeah? I'll drop the American part because we don't have time. Okay, let's get on. Okay, Ablakwa, thank you. We are done with you. Okay. Ambassador Fifi Kwete has spoken. You know, Fifi Kwete and I, we go way back. We go way back. When I saw it, I wasn't surprised, you see, because this is not the first time it's happened. It's happened in 2001. People went after President Kufuor that you said there had been corruption and you come and you jail only 2 or you jail only 1 or you jail only 3. 2008 happened again. Alhaji Bature, may he rest in peace. He led a narrative against Professor Mills that the Chief Justice Georgina Wood should be sacked, should be removed from office, and that until she is removed, the NDC will not be able to jail anyone. Professor Mills spoke publicly about it, said that he's not there to be removing people. Kwabena J, may he rest in peace, the chairman of the party, when he was asked at a press conference that the agitations of the party that the Chief Justice should be removed seems to have hit a brick wall because Professor Mills says he won't do it. Kwabena J's response to the media was that, don't worry, there are many ways of killing a cat. A cat. That's what he said. So these sentiments have been coming. So when Fifi Kwete spoke to the NDC lawyers recently and almost threatened them that those of you cutting deals with the MPP people so that they do not go to jail and you are collecting their money, I am coming after you. I know you. I'll mention your names next time. Here's the video.
Some among us are busy trying to cut deals with people who are supposed to be prosecuted. Some among us are trying to cut deals. Some among us are busy trying to cut deals with people who are supposed to be prosecuted. Some among us are trying to cut deals.
Some amongst us, I don't know whether he meant whether they were in a room or just among the NDC fraternity. Now, this is the controversial part of the story. Fifi Kwete may be right. He may also be wrong. It's a lesson for politicians. You see, because viewers, when you stand on the political campaign platform, and I've been in the campaign before, and I've been in campaign communication looking for issues to use to make our candidate look good and all. I've been there before, so I know. When you stand on the campaign platform, and you say, Kwesi Amankwa is a thief. It's easy to say. You can point to certain things. You can point. Look at his house at East Legon. Look at this at that. Look at this, that. You can say all that. He's a thief. When we see a thief, we can see him. Somebody is sharing dollars in the car. He's a thief. When we see a thief, we can see him. You can say all that. But when you take the document, as the Americans would say, document. When you take the document and you put it in court, and the judge is fair, the judicial system is fair, and the prosecution, you need to establish the offense alleged 100%. If you establish it 90%, you haven't done anything. The person will go away. Now the question is, if you're able to establish it 90-95%, does it mean the person stole or the person doesn't stole? I don't know the answer to the question. But the court processes require you, the prosecution, to establish it by 100%. So when after the election is over, after the shouting has been done, after the victory has been won, the inauguration has come, they have been sworn in, and now they sit around the table. Attorney General Dominic Ayini is there, Thaddeus Sori is there, Sremsa is there, Eduji Tamaklo is there, maybe Tony Litha is there, Marietta is there. Then they said, bring up the case of Akwesi Mensah. Okay. Akwesi Mensah was managing director of Ghana Gas. We all know that he bought 7 houses in London because Kofi told us that when he used to go to London, he would stay in one of Akwesi Mensah's house at Wood Green. He used to stay there. Abena also told us that because of his relationship with Akwesi Mensah in Achimota School, whenever she went to New York, when Akwesi Mensah was managing director of Ghana Gas, Akwesi Mensah has 2 houses in New York. One of them she used to stay in. That's the story on the table. So Thaddeus Sori was that, do we know the house numbers? Do we have evidence that is for him? Okay, maybe let's call Mary. She might know the house number. Okay, Mary, do you know the house number of the place that you used to live in? You say, oh, it's on my phone because Akwesi used to text it to me. So let me check on my phone and send it to you. She checks and sends it to you. It is number 16 Boulevard, New York, something. She said, hey, great. Call Ghana Embassy. Check. Number 16 Boulevard, something. Then they check and then the response comes that the house belongs to Scott Edwards. Scott Edwards. Who is Scott Edwards? Find out who he is. They find out Scott Edwards. No relation to Ghana. No relation to Akwesi Mensah. That's at the table. We have said on the political platform that Akwesi Mensah is a thief. We have published his houses in London and in America that since he became Ghana Gas CEO, 2 years, look at what he has gotten. Akwesi Mensah drives around in an Escalade or a Ferrari in East Legon. Akwesi Mensah, since he became member of Ghana Gas, has become part of East Legon Executive Club. So, as far as the narrative is concerned, Akwesi Mensah must have stolen government money before he became Ghana Gas managing director. Where was he staying? He was staying in Sakumono. I know his house. I know. It's near Farm Bees. That's his house. It is an ordinary house. I know him. He had only 2 cars. Even his children, they were going to Achimota. As soon as he went to be Ghana Gas, the children went abroad. All that is okay. Akwesi Mensah is a thief. Now we are on the legal table. Who is the owner of the house? Scott Edwards. Scott Edwards, the owner of the house? Check Akwesi Mensah's bank accounts. Kojo Chumboafo, financial something. Come. Akwesi Mensah's bank accounts, check. What is in there? I checked though. The guy, he doesn't have much money. He doesn't have much money? No. He has some 2 million cedis. Oh, is the 2 million cedis that Ghana Gas paid him when he left? So if we are sure we cannot get Akwesi Mensah, call Iyoko. Where does Akwesi Mensah live? Trasako. Go and read it. Check the owner of the Trasako house. They go and check the owner of the Trasako house. Kennedy Japan is the owner of the Trasako house that Akwesi Mensah lives in. That's where the prosecution is. What are they going to do? What should they charge him with? They go and check his procurement. No procurement breaches because he goes to public procurement. These are the circumstances of the things, how it happens. And that's why Fifi Kwete will be angry. Because I don't know that Fifi Kwete has been at that round table the prosecution's roundtable in the office. I don't know whether Fifi Kwete has been there to ask Remsai that, hey, Chief, what is happening to this case? So that you tell that, Charlie, this case is becoming very difficult. It's becoming very, very, very difficult. Godfrey Dami, one of the finest legal brains of the Fourth Republic, began a prosecution of Kaisel Atuforsen, the finance minister. Godfrey Dami was confident about his case. Kaisel Atuforsen filed a submission of no case after the prosecution had ended their case. The judge, the trial judge, Ifeasewa, concluded that Kaisel Atuforsen has a case to answer. Godfrey Dami was continuing with the cross-examination as Kaisel Atuforsen presented his defense. Lawyers for Kaisel Atuforsen, unsatisfied with Ifeasewa's ruling, filed an appeal at the Court of Appeal. The verdict came in favor of Atuforsen. Two of the judges of the Court of Appeal felt that Atuforsen has actually no case to answer based on what he told the High Court. What's Godfrey Dami going to do about that? That's the problem. So I found a good example in our history. You know, yes, proving corruption, a historical analysis. Okay, great. I put J.J. Rawlins's image here. You can see it is a watermark. Now, the soldiers in the past, when they take over government and they catch these people like Rawlins did in 79 and tried them in a bury and took them through some court process and convicted them of stealing government money and went to shoot at them at the range. I believe it happened in the Nkrumah era as well. After post-Nkrumah era. I'm not sure about that. But 79 it happened. The soldiers, Boachi Jan, Osahene, may he rest in peace. Flight Lieutenant Rawlins, may he rest in peace. Major Mensah Poku, Tasiru. I'm talking about the architects of the June 4th revolution. These men were aware that when they were staging the event on the Monday morning, June 4th, 1979, they knew that later in the same month, there are elections scheduled in which this military junta is going to go away to bring in a new civilian administration. The soldiers were aware. They were clearly aware. But what happened? Now, this is the timetable. Military coup occurred on June 4th. Elections in 79 were to be held on the 18th of June. June 16th and June 26th. 1979, former heads of state and military top brass were executed. Second round of presidential elections was held on 9 July. Liman was sworn in on 24 September. The soldiers knew that within a matter of weeks, the government they are trying to overthrow will be gone anyway, because Ghanaians had made a decision. A consultative assembly had drawn up a new constitution. Elections had been scheduled. The campaign had started. The soldiers knew that the government they were trying to overthrow, they said they wanted to overthrow military government so that democracy be ushered in. What then was the point of a coup on June 4th when elections had been scheduled in June 27th? What was the point? But they were aware that the people they are calling thieves, if they swing over to the democracy courts does not catch thieves the way political bigotry catches them. Political bigotry has a way of catching thieves. The courts do not catch thieves the same way. That is the point of Fifi Kwete's frustration. Now, let me quickly bring you the Evidence Act, Section 13 thereof. It says, in any civil or criminal action, the burden of persuasion as to the commission by a party of a crime, which is directly in issue, requires proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Now, this ultimate very high standard called reasonable doubt is the reason why political bigotry in addressing stealing in a republic is fundamentally different, sometimes even opposed to the tools that will be applied by a court to come to the conclusion that an individual has actually committed an offense. William Blackstone says that it is better that 10 guilty persons escape than that one innocent person suffers. Criminal punishment carries weight. To justify it, the state must meet a high threshold of certainty. Blackstone says that, in fact, if some people are guilty, but for some reason you don't find them, it's better than to have one person in there who is not guilty. So we give you a high standard. So it's not very simple to go through a prosecution and establish something. It's not simple. We might know about it, we might have heard about it, but when you come to the prosecution table, it's a different matter. The lawyers will tell you. It's a completely different matter. This is what grounds the frustration of politicians outside the legal bracket who want something certainly to be done about the campaign message they waged, for which reason they were voted into power. Akufo-Addo went through the same thing. Kufuor went through the same thing. Mills went through the same thing. And John Mahama will go through the same thing. And until we go to the campaign and stop saying somebody is a thief to help us to win. If we say people are thieves to help us to win, and we charge the people and they vote for us, then the people will be giving us pressure. Now, Fifi Kwete's pressure is not of himself. It's pressure that he's getting from the grassroots of the NDC. That Alaji, namukache sobu ade no mu daso obu nya o danu mi ba ku no okoto ade ade omu jeli omu nyina omu MPP for omu jeli omu nyina omu no mu krofo kwa. Listen to Fifi Kwete one more time. Listen, it's the frustration from the grassroots. Listen to him.
Some among us are busy trying to cut deals with people who are supposed to be prosecuted. Some among us are trying to cut deals. Some among us are busy trying to cut deals with people who are supposed to be prosecuted.
So there's a guy called Kwachi. He was the Inspector General of Police. They were looking for him during June 4th. He ran away. He said he will not have anything to do with these things they are doing. When the Constitution came, he came back. And then he sued the Attorney General. They went on to seize his properties and all that when he wasn't there. He sued the Attorney General. Now listen. In Kwachi versus the Attorney General, 1981, Ghana Law Reports, the plaintiff, Mr. Kwachi, challenged a 25-year prison sentence that he had claimed was unlawfully imposed by a special court under the Armed Forces Revolutionary Council, the AFRC. Mr. Kwachi argued that the sentence was announced after the AFRC had been dissolved and that he was never properly tried or convicted. The Attorney General raised procedural objections under the State Proceedings Act and relied on a constitutional ouster clause that barred judicial review of the AFRC. Oh, Apreku, this is too legal. Okay. The Supreme Court dismissed the procedural objection, emphasizing the supremacy of the Constitution over statutory notice. Okay. On the substantive issue, the court found that the Attorney General failed to prove that a lawful trial or conviction had occurred, and therefore the ouster clauses did not apply. I didn't need ouster clauses, too legal. The court declared the sentence void and upheld the plaintiff's constitutional rights. This is what the court said. The court said that the Attorney General failed to prove that a lawful trial, so that the court said the trial of the AFRC that convicted Kwachi was unlawful. It was a charade of a trial. This is the thing. So Fifi Kwete may be right, but really and truly, it may also be that the lawyers around the Attorney General's table are finding it difficult to put the dots together for the purpose of a prosecution so that they will be able to obtain 100% conviction of the individual and they will pass the threshold of proving beyond reasonable doubt. That's not simple. And that is the problem. And until we learn to manage our politics and our campaign in a certain way, anyone who runs on corruption and wins elections, we'll see what happens. President Kufuor ran on corruption. He was fortunate. He was able to convict some people. Quality Grain, Dana Boda, etc. I think in the Fourth Republic, he's the one who was convicted the most. Because at that time, they didn't have public procurement law. And public procurement law now comes. So it becomes a benchmark where there are procurement breaches. If there are no procurement breaches, you really cannot proceed beyond that. It's very difficult, very complicated. So it's not about the gossip that Akwesi Mensah, when he was managing director of Ghana Gas, had a house in New York. The house belongs to Scott Edwards. You can't go beyond that. The Attorney General cannot go to the court and say that, my lord, Akwesi Mensah appropriated money and bought a house in New York, 6 Boulevard something, 5-bedroom house with a swimming pool, and this is the document. Akwesi Mensah will tell you that I don't have a house in New York. The house where Araba stayed, my friend, it belongs to my friend Scott Edwards. Scott Tedros is fast, he's not my friend. I met him in Yale, and we had the same teaching group or something. So whatever. That's the problem. So that is where the frustration comes from. Viewers, I don't know whether you get my point. I hope you do. But that's where the frustration comes from. Well, I'm running out of time. I need to get to President Mahama. Tomorrow he has a big press conference. So I'll take a text message break with Anzibar, and then we will come to the 10 questions for President Mahama to answer. I'll begin with showing you the last time I attended a press conference of the president. I miss doing these things. I wish I could go there tomorrow, but I know if I go there, Fellow Fosukwati will hit my head. So I won't go. I'll be monitoring on radio and television. But there's one important, very positive thing that I'm going to say about the John Mahama's press conference. The timing, the time of the day that he's doing it. I've been making this case for a very long time, and nobody has been listening. I think that President Mahama and his team have listened, and hopefully we can continue like that. Akufo-Addo listened during the COVID broadcast. I remember I was very excited when I was called and told that, Charlie, it looks like they are going to do it in the evening. They've taken your suggestion. I was fighting that you need to do these presidential things in the evening for television time. It's very, very important. When we're in England, that's what they do. The American president hosts his sessional address at 8 p.m. Eastern time. That's television time. Anyway, we'll come to this. It's a very interesting part. We have 10 questions we're going to read to you that President Mahama should be asked after the text message break. Anzibar, what are people saying?
Thank you very much, Paul. Coming from Busy Nana Kwame, he says, Ghana has returned to a culture of silence. Elik Plim says, for the past 8 years, we have believed in democracy and freedom of speech in this country. But what is happening now? People no longer respect or trust the judiciary, all because of political witch hunts. It is truly pathetic. Rio Maxby says, Apostle Paul, don't eulogize Kwesi Kwarteng. He failed woefully as the PRO to propagate the good works done by Nanadu and the NPP at the Education Ministry. Coming from Hamza, he says, it's really sad to see the direction in which Ghana is heading now. Degree Jonah says, it's so sad. How are countries reduced to this level? What is going on? You air your feelings and it becomes a problem. Coming from Raymond, he says, Ghana's democracy is heading for disaster if proper care is not taken. There is clear evidence of bias by Ghana Police Service against the opposition party. The same IGP who claimed that the police could not provide security for the Electoral Commission to complete collation at just 3 polling stations somehow found enough officers to arrest Abronye DC in such a dramatic manner. God bless Ghana. Coming from Benjamin, he says, NPP ranking member for Foreign Affairs can also go to Ivory Coast as well. Iman Hamik says, good submission, Paul. Bakman Sharif says, you are doing a great job today. I am really enjoying the program. Coming from DeGraft, he says, Ghana. And lastly, from Nana JB's Empire, he says, well explained and well spoken, Paul. Over to you, Paul.
All right. President John Dramani Mahama has a press conference in Accra tomorrow. I'm delighted that the time for the press conference is 8 p.m. television time. I've been talking about this for a long time until the COVID broadcast, that most of the events we do that are intended for the democracy, transparency issue should be done in the evening. The president's sessional address to Parliament, such an important matter, always happens at 10 o'clock in the morning. Everybody's going to work, everybody's here, everybody's there. Children are in school. Secondary school is in school, universities are lectures. Everybody is doing their business. And that's the same time the president's addressing Parliament. And then we have to have radio live and TV live, and nobody's watching. Presidents should address Parliament at 9 p.m. television time so that the whole country can watch it and get a sense of what he's saying, and not just rely on journalists who are now going to explain, and even the traffic situation in town. When the president is giving sessional address and you're in Accra, it's chaotic all over the place. All members of the diplomatic corps are driving to Parliament. Security chiefs are driving to Parliament. 276 members of Parliament are there. The speakers, people are all there. And they're all using the same road that you used to go to work. They are finding plenty policemen blocking here, blocking that. The president's sessional address in a democratic, business-minded society should take place at 9 p.m. television time. The address is made for television. That's what it is. The address is made for television, not the other way around. So you check what time television people are watching. That's why the American president's sessional address is 8 p.m. Eastern time. The American president can go to the Congress as the Senate. He can go there at 9 o'clock in the morning to do it. But they want the majority of Americans to connect. So it's 8 p.m. It's 8:30. Barack Obama is start at 9 o'clock Eastern time. And it's on till 11 o'clock. Everybody's at home. When Akufo-Addo came to do the COVID, we fought and we got it. Akufo-Addo's COVID broadcast was 8 p.m. television time. You saw the impact that it made. Then they always do presidential press conference, 10 o'clock in the morning. No, tomorrow, John Dramani Mahama, for the first time, is holding a presidential press conference 8 p.m. national television time. I think that's correct. Felix Kwacho Fosu, this one is a good one. We'll come to the bad ones later on. Okay, that's the end of this one. Producers will cut this off now. Let's get to the President Mahama 10 questions. Now, viewers, I'm quite embarrassed to show you this video, I have to admit. It's not all the time that I'm happy showing some of the videos of myself. This one is very embarrassing. I don't know how I was so fat and so huge. But I'd like to share with you the last time I, as a news reporter, attended a presidential press conference. Unfortunately, it's so long ago. I don't know why I didn't used to attend President Mahama's press conference. I think because somehow, I had friendly relations with them, so perhaps I feel that talking about it before going to ask questions was awkward. For Akufo-Addo's, I could never attend because in the back room we were part of just what question is coming, what answer should be given, and we enjoyed those moments. So when the press conference came, I'll always be behind. I will not show up over there. I'm not going to be at the press conference tomorrow, but I do have 10 questions for President Mahama to consider, and I'm going to share with you now. Now, though, let me take you all the way to the Osu Castle. This was 2009, and this was Paul Adomochi, a reporter with Metro TV, asking Professor John Evans Atamil's questions the last time I attended a presidential press conference.
I report for Metro TV. Mr. President, permit me to return to the Alfred Woyome matter, and I would like some education from you. It is said that your Attorney General, your principal legal advisor, has a writ in court seeking to set aside a judgment that Mr. Woyome benefited from, and you have also directed Iyoko to have a look at the matter. Is there not a conflict of the two actions, as the Attorney General is your principal legal advisor? And do you share the view of the Attorney General that this judgment has to be set aside? Thank you.
Well, I do not blame the people of Ghana for being concerned about this case. Indeed, all of us are yearning for the time when all the facts will be made available. That is the reason why I have referred the matter to Iyoko. When Iyoko submits a report, I can assure you that whatever action has to be taken will be taken. The President does not have the power to ask his minister to make any payment except what is approved in the budget, and of course, where you have a judgment date. These are paid as a matter of course. So if you have a judgment from a competent court, the Minister of Finance does not have to seek the President's permission to pay. Indeed, if he decides not to pay, to decide to delay, the person, the complainant, can take the matter back to court. But my brothers and sisters, Atamils has been Commissioner of Internal Revenue for 8.5 years. I know how the revenue agencies struggle to get the money for the good people of this country. I have been Vice President, and I've been President for 3 years. I know it is criminal, irresponsible, the height of naivety for a president to call his Minister of Finance and say, pay this man this. I don't know where it is done. Perhaps those who are accusing me of having giving directives to the Minister of Finance to pay this amount, perhaps they know something which I don't know.
Oh, Prof, may he rest in peace. But you saw some interesting photos of some of the old guards. Benjamin Kumbo, my former lecturer, I saw him in there. In those days, I believe he was Attorney General or was Minister for Interior, something like that. Anyway, now, producer, let's file this one. Viewers, here are 10 questions for President Mahama that we believe he should be asked tomorrow. We are going to share them with you now. And for the journalists who are attending, please remember that you are flying the flag of Ghanaian journalism. After the press conference, there's going to be a lot of analysis. Let's not let people come and say that, oh, the journalist couldn't ask any sensible question. Oh, the journalist, sometimes we hear that. Sometimes too, we hear that the journalists ask sensible questions. Let's have on the average 90%, 95% of the questions coming in the evening very, very, very solid. But here are 10 questions that you can look at and grapple with, 10 it upside down, however you want. And perhaps if you get the opportunity, you may ask. Question number 1. Mr. President, the 10 churches that is claimed you built for the Assemblies of God Church, was it with state funds or was it with your personal funds? That's question number 1 for President Mahama tomorrow. Question number 2. Mr. President, Johnson Asiedun Ketia argues that a state of emergency is not the way to go to address Galamsey, which is contrary to the position taken by the NDC during opposition. Do you agree with your party chairman, Johnson Asiedun Ketia, that you cannot give a state of emergency in the Galamsey areas? That's question number 2. Question number 3 for the President of Ghana. Mr. President, the United States has now cut Ghana off the MCC. Will you now redeploy Mr. Alexander Mould to another office? That's a soft question. So if you have to drop one question, you can drop. That's a soft question. We are just asking about what the MCC will be doing now that the Americans are not dealing with that situation. All right. Question number 4. Mr. President, over the last 8 months, which minister would you term as the best performing and which will you term as the worst performing among the following ministers? Minister for Justice, the Attorney General. Minister for Energy. Minister for Communications. Minister for Foreign Affairs. And the Minister for Health. I give the list of ministries again from which we are asking the President to choose the best and the worst. Justice and Attorney General. Energy and Renewable something. Communications, Sam George. Foreign Affairs, Ablakwa. Or Health, Minta Akando. That's the one that we used to answer the questions in primary school. Take the odd one out. Shade the odd one out. Which one will the President take? We'll see that. We'll hear that from him when the press conference comes. Question number 5. In terms of having press conferences, you seem to have always conducted your first press conference quite late as compared to other presidents. What is the reason for this? Do you want to gather all or more information before you do your press conference? Now, the meaning of this question is that we have looked at all the other former presidents of the Fourth Republic who did press conferences, starting with Kufuor. Kufuor did his press conference in the first 100 days. Professor Mills had his press conference in April. Nana Akufo-Addo has his press conference in July. During the first administration of President Mahama, he actually had his press conference the following year after his inauguration. He was sworn in January 2013. He had his press conference 1 year, January 2014. This time, he's having his press conference 8-9 months down the line. The question is, why does he take so long to have the press conference? All right, the first press conference. Question number 6. Following the unfortunate helicopter crash, there has been a conversation about purchase of a new presidential jet. Has the Ghana Air Force advised you to initiate the purchase of a new presidential jet? That's a question for the President. You didn't add, producer, that Sami Okujeto said that the presidential jet currently there is in pristine condition until 2030. So our question to the President is that Okujeto having said that the presidential current jet is in pristine condition until 2030, which doesn't come, it comes even after the next election. Has the Ghana Air Force advised His Excellency John Mahama to get a new presidential jet? That's a question for the President. Okay. Question number 7. Mr. President, there is a conflict in Boku now. It seems you campaigned and posited that one of the heads of the faction was the legitimate chief of Boku. Do you think the current disturbances are as a result of that act of yours? That is asking the President a direct question. That during the campaign, you said there was a legitimate chief in Boku, and now there's conflict. Do you think that your saying so may have occasioned the conflict? Question number 8. Mr. President, how will you fund the 4 billion 24-hour economy project now that funding has been withdrawn by the MCC? Now, the reason why we link MCC to that is MCC was giving us some money to do certain things. Now they are not there again, especially in terms of agriculture. We may have to find our own money for that. Whilst you are finding your money for that, Augustus Guzitano and his team say that you need 4 billion to begin and actualize the vision of 24-hour economy. So the question to the President is that, where are we on the 24-hour economy? Now we know we need 4 billion. Now we have some 100 million that was coming that we now need to cough it up ourselves. In all of these circumstances, where are you going to find a free 4 billion to initiate the vision of the 24-hour economy? That's the question for the President. Question number 9. And this is a very, very, very controversial one. Question number 9 for the president. Mr. President, Kwabena Edubuahin mentioned in his letter to the National Security Secretariat that he had handed over some money to the NDC to aid in their election results coalition capacity. There was even an allusion to a meeting between the late Dr. Mani Boama and Kwabena Edubuahin. Mr. President, can you confirm that you received some monies from the National Security Secretariat during the campaign as alluded to by Kwabena Edubuahin in his letter to the National Security Coordinator? That's a very controversial and very touchy question to the president because it's asking him to divulge national security secrets. But if the question comes, let's see how the president will deal with it. Question number 10. Last one. During the period that Ghana cedi was gaining value against the dollar, the prices of goods were not commensurate with the currency trend. Could the Bank of Ghana have done anything to avert this? That's a question for the president again. I don't know whether he's going to have his ministers lined up. I guess they will be there. So if they will be there, this is a question for Case Latufosen. Viewers, if you have some questions to add to my 10 questions, please send it to us on our social media page, Good Evening Ghana Official, and then we can deal with it. I see I have a text here. Let me check what it is. Anziba, do you have some text messages we can close with? All right. So let's take the next set of text messages and we'll be wrapping up. I was hoping to open phone lines. Viewers, I'm so sorry. We traveled until 11 o'clock. I'm happy that sometimes you can interact. Maybe Thursday we'll find occasion to have you talk to us. It's always pleasurable to hear from you. Anziba, what are people saying?
Thank you very much, Paul. Coming from Barnabas, he says, very, very sensible questions. Diamond A. Root says, reasonable questions. Prince says, question 6 is very solid. A.B. Nanayao says, great questions. Prince says, question 8 is very solid. And lastly, from Nana, he says, it's unfortunate that these questions are going to be thought through by John Mahama before he comes, so he can answer without stress, because they will counsel him on that. Okay, that would be it. Thank you very much, Paul. Over to you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we are done. Tomorrow, President Mahama has a press conference. That will be the big story on Thursday, and so I'm sure on Thursday we'll be having a look at that in some detail. Hopefully, we'll have a panel in the studio who will look at how the president fared as far as the press conference was concerned. That's it for the show. This is Good Evening Ghana. Hopefully, the Abronya situation will be resolved quietly, and perhaps tomorrow they can get him a release ahead of his appearance in court on Friday. Thanks for watching. Good night.